and not kiss again. Seems like pretending it isn't the ending. Two friends drifting apart, two friends but one broken heart. We loved, we laughed, we cried, and suddenly love died. The story ends, and we're just friends. Just friends, lovers no more. Just friends, but not like before. To think of what we've been and not kiss again seems like pretending it isn't the ending. Two friends drifting apart, two friends but one broken heart. We loved, we laughed, we cried, and suddenly love died. The story ends, and we're just friends.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you've enjoyed our first tune. That was Jazz in the AM playing a Dave Wolpe arrangement of Just Friends featuring Giovanna Bavone on the vocals. We're going to hear more from them later, but now I want to introduce our special guest for the evening. He graduated in 2007 from the Manhattan School of Music with a bachelor's degree in jazz piano. Shortly thereafter, he moved to LA and joined the rock band Dawes. Together, they have traveled the world and recorded 3 studio albums, most recently, Good Luck with Whatever, released on Rounder Records. He's also toured, performed, and recorded with a variety of musical luminaries, most notably Roger Waters, Phil Lesh, Cass McCombs, Jonathan Wilson, Amy Mann, Elvis Costello, the Preservation Hall Jazz Band, Paul Bryan, Theo Katzman, and Jeff Parker. We're most excited that he is joining us tonight because this past month, he released his debut jazz album entitled Homebodies via Ground Up Music. The album showcases his original compositions and marries together a soft spot for solid, tightly arranged grooves with the spontaneity of an improvisational band. And we get the chance to talk to him about his album tonight. Most importantly, however, he's an alumni member of Jazz in the AM, graduating from MIDI in 2003. Please, virtually, welcome back Lee Pardini. Lee, my friend, how are you doing?
Hey, hello, Mr. K, Mason Keymont.
How's it going?
It's going well. Yeah.
What do you find yourself doing these days during the pandemic? Not a lot of performing going on, I would imagine.
No, unfortunately, one of the, many ways this pandemic has impacted, everyone's daily life, obviously, but the music industry, live touring has shut down. Venues are struggling to survive because they've had to close. So no touring, no live performances with an audience, but I've managed to stay productive. So I've been spending my time writing. I think that all this time at home has, I've been able to hold a mirror up to myself as a musician and a writer. So it's been interesting to really have the opportunity to sit down and work out a lot of ideas. Not all of them good, but you got to work through all the bad ones to get to some of the good stuff. So, I've been writing a lot and recording at home as much as I can with the little, makeshift home studio that I have.
That was gonna be one of my questions. Are you able to get back into a studio yet, or have you had to make do at home?
Fortunately, the studios have stayed open.
Okay.
every situation has been different. So luckily everyone that I know and every experience that I've had has been with health and safety as the, you know, number one priority. And you know, sessions have been able to continue on. So it's been interesting. You know, I mean, being in a recording studio all day with a mask on isn't ideal, but being able to be in the studio and make music with other people is, you know, a luxury. It's not lost on me that we should be thankful just for any opportunity to play music with friends and other people in the same room. You know, if it's having a mask on, rapid testing, whatever it is, luckily studios have you know, stayed open. So it's been okay in that regard.
we were able to hook you up with another MIDI alum, Rachel Lauren,
Yes.
Rachel Udall from the
Mhm.
class of 2006. And you guys put together a tune for us tonight. She's our special guest artist. You're our guest artist. She's our special guest artist. Now, in terms of conversation, how'd you guys work together? You guys put together a tune. So tell me about the,
Mhm.
again, you guys weren't really, I mean, this was put together via distance. Tell me about how that worked. How'd you guys put this together?
Well, I should say it was so much fun to do it. I think that in a perfect world, we would have done it in the same room and it would have been just that much more fun. But we had a conversation on FaceTime, and first of all, we caught up after however many years we hadn't seen or talked to each other, which was lovely to catch up with Rachel. We don't live that far from each other in Los Angeles. And so it was really, it was just really rewarding to connect with another MIDI alum, but to hear how music has played a role in her life and her path to where she is now and all that it was just really, really nice. But so we were just on the phone and we were just throwing out ideas, brainstorming about first of all, we had to choose a song, and it's just a hard decision to make. What tune do you choose? There's about a billion jazz standards. There's pop songs from Paul Simon to the Beatles, all these things. And so you have this open list, and luckily Rachel as the vocalist, it's just, I think that if there's one bit of advice I would give to accompanists roles, guitar players and any rhythm section instrument really, because it could be bass or drums too, but follow the singer. The singer should be dictating the dynamic, the emotion, and in this instance, the song choice, because I wanted, and we both wanted this, but it was important that it was something that was comfortable for her to sing, tempo, key wise, lyrically, that it is huge. So we decided on Best Part by her because it's sort of contemporary, but also something that could allow us freedom to depart from the original version and put our own take on it. And especially for Rachel to put her own phrasing and emotion behind the lyric. And then for me to be able to play around with the groove and take a solo in ways that wasn't trying too hard. Because I've run into a lot of walls before trying to repurpose a popular song that in its original form depends a lot on the beat behind it, or the iconic synthesizer part on the chorus. So to rearrange it in a lot of ways takes a lot of work if you're going to go that route, and this one just felt very open and very easy. And so the process with Lauren was that it was really easy. We decided on the song. I sat down at home and started messing around. She told me what key was comfortable, so that was easy for me. Rachel's very, well versed and educated musically, so she knows what's going to work for her. Made it a whole lot easier. And we sent some voice memos back and forth. It was very, very modern in that sense. I was like, oh, okay, here's a feel. Check it out. She's like, okay, great. This is the key. Check it out. And then I just hit the record button at home, set up the camera, and we sent it back and forth. And that was pretty much it. It couldn't have been easier with Rachel.
Well, I got to tell you, I was so impressed by the final product, and I'm sure our audience tonight is going to love it. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Best Part, arranged by Lee Pardini, featuring Lee Pardini and Rachel Lauren. So enjoy.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
kiss me slowly, it's the sweetest thing, and it don't change. If I had it my way, you would know that you are. You're the coffee that I need in the morning. You're my sunshine in the rain when it's pouring. Won't you give yourself to me? Give it all. I just wanna see how beautiful you are. You know that I see it. I know you're a star. Where you go, I'll follow, no matter how far. If life is a movie, then you're the best part. You're the best part. It's a sunrise in those brown eyes. You're the one that I desire. And when we wake up and then we make love, it makes me feel so nice. You're the water when I'm stuck in the desert. You're my Tylenol I take when my head hurts. You're the sunshine of my life. I just wanna see how beautiful you are. You know that I see it. I know you're a star. Where you go, I'll follow, no matter how far. If life is a movie, then you're the best part. You're the best part. If you love me, won't you say something? If you love me, won't you? If you love me, won't you say something? Love me, won't you? Love me, won't you? If you love me, won't you say something? Love me, won't you? Love me, won't you? Love me, won't you?
right, well, we're back and we're still here with Lee Pardini, class of 2003, a Monarch. So let's talk about when you were here and you were a Monarch. Tell us some of your favorite memories when you were here.
Oh, well, jazz band
Oh,
by far and away, jazz band and Exodus. So, you know, I think my favorite memories definitely gravitate towards the music department. Just because we had such a strong community in the music program. It was, you know, those were my best friends, and we were doing what was really fun to us. So those were by far my favorite memories. Specifically, the trip to Reno for the Reno Jazz Festival, because, you know, and you know, this gets into some of the, you know, the pandemic related things, but we were so excited to perform for people, and it was such a source of pride to travel. We felt like we were on tour. It was like our first touring experiences. You know, we were leaving the house too, so we, you know, we were certainly looking forward to being away from home. But Reno, Santa Cruz was a especially fond memory for me, because I think that was a time in MIDI. I think maybe I was a junior, but we did a small group portion too. So the Reno thing was like, we, you know, the whole jazz band was sort of competing and we were there, but Santa Cruz was both. We did a trio because they had a small group sort of section for the competition, and then the full band. And so that was especially rewarding because that was the first time I think I really felt that type of pressure in a trio setting. And so that, you know, those were certainly fond memories. And then to round out the music thing, all the musicals, literally every single one of them was just like that. I remember so vividly because they were in the spring, you know, and so the weather was changing. It was beautiful. School was sort of drawing to an end, and you could see that down the tunnel in terms of the year's end. But they were night rehearsals and they were after school experiences, and a lot of us were also involved with CMT. And so I think we were just comfortable, you know. A lot of the actors had experience in being in a musical, and I was playing in pits at CMT, but like we just had, it was such a strong just community. So we were all having fun. And 42nd Street, my senior year, was, I think, pretty much tops it all because, you know, and I think credit is due to you, but you had given me the opportunity to conduct and musically direct that show. And so I learned a lot of valuable lessons, technically about conducting, which you and I worked on together. You taught me how to conduct. And so, you know, there was that, but rehearsing a band is an incredibly difficult skill to develop, mostly because a lot of people don't have the opportunity. So for me to, it's just a lot falls on your shoulders. So I think the fond memories, just that pressure. You have an audience of parents who are really, I mean, you know, they're taking it all in, but they're watching their son or their daughter on stage. And there's a lot of pressure for the orchestra not to ruin the experience for, right, you know, for the big spenders in the crowd, right, that are, you know, and so
the best pit orchestras are the ones you don't notice, right? It's when you notice
of
them.
Course.
Like, oh.
yeah, totally. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, why do you notice them? It's because the flute player was out of tune. It's not a good reason, you know. Yeah. So I think those are my fondest memories. But my community at MIDI was so tied to the music program. It wasn't like everything I did was music related at MIDI. And certainly have lots of fond memories outside, but it was all there. Like my friends group they were people in the jazz choir and the jazz band. And although we did other things, I mean, it was just, that was my world, you know? And so all my fond memories revolve around that. And it certainly, you know, I learned a lot, but also we just had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
goofing around. I mean, you can attest to the amount of goofing around that went on. So
we did, yeah, we goofed around a little bit back in the day. Fun fact for the night. the first conductor in the Kincaid Center for the Performing Arts was not Mr. Keymont. It was, in fact, Lee Pardini for 42nd Street, because 42nd Street opened the new theater that year. So that was the first show in the new theater. So you're kind of MIDI history there.
Well, I'd say, just to add a little bit of history, I'm almost positive, and I still have it. The baton that I used was a gift given to me from you, and I still have it. I haven't used it a lot recently, and I'm just itching for the next time I can pull out the baton to lead an orchestra or a string quartet or whatever it is. Yeah. But that baton is just, it's up here. It's not quite on display, but it's there.
Well, we're going to bring those kids back that we hope will go into long careers and successful careers in music. This is going to be Jazz in the AM performing The Days of Wine and Roses. Take it away. All right, we're back with Lee Pardini. Lee, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tell me a little bit about what's upcoming for you. Where are you at with Dawes?
Well, right now, Dawes is, we're doing a lot of what everybody else is doing, which is waiting. It's a bit of a waiting game, which, you know, as you could imagine, is frustrating. Our band has built our following, and sort of our mode of operating is touring. You know, we tour a lot, and so that being sort of suddenly taken away was a sort of a shock to us, because we were so used to being able to play and being able to travel, and without doing that, you know, it's forced us to be creative in how we're connecting with our audience and our fans, and that it has sort of manifested in various different ways, with a little podcast idea or a YouTube video here or there. But really what we're looking forward to coming up is, if all goes according to plan, in the fall, things will start to open up again. And we do have some plans to tour in October and November, obviously pending the state of the world. But I think at this point, we're relatively confident that we can tour. Some of the rooms might be half capacity, limited capacity. We're certainly trying to do as many open space outdoor ones as possible, but that gets tricky in the fall, obviously, in certain places. So, good luck with whatever came out last October. And we're just kind of biding our time until we can present that music live to people. So we're starting to figure that out logistically. There's a lot to talk about. But we're also working on new music. So it's like, even if we're not able to tour, Taylor, our lead singer and primary songwriter, is prolific. I mean, there's only one way to describe his output, and it is truly prolific. So we have a lot of new material that we've been digging into. I want to give too much away, but we've managed to stay productive sort of behind the scenes. So for Dawes, I think we're going to hit the ground running as soon as we possibly can. And I think we're excited about that. So that's kind of where our world is.
And in terms of other upcoming projects, you got a big thing coming up in June, correct?
Yes, that a big one, the biggest one. Yes.
You're getting married to another monarch. Yes.
Yes.
Emma Hefner, class of 2004. She was one of the first people we had in our orchestra here when we started it back then. So we have a saying around here: once a monarch, always a monarch. And you guys are taking that to the next level, I guess.
Yes, we are. Yep. In June, we're getting married, and I couldn't be more excited. And you're right. It's, our lives, it took we took different paths, and we were apart for a long time, but there's something about the monarch experience. It was just, we ended up back together and committed to each other, and tying the knot in June, and couldn't be happier.
Well, we're excited for you. We're happy for you.
Thank you.
Right. So listen, why don't you introduce your last tune for us? I believe you're doing Rancho. Tell us about Rancho.
Well, Rancho, I think is one that it encapsulates a lot about what the Homebodies record is, which is kind of drawing from a lot of experiences on tour. And so Rancho, it's not about any particular place, but it's as much as it is about kind of California in general. I wrote it at a time, I had just gotten back from a really short tour that was from LA up to like Northern California, kind of Humboldt County and back. And we went to this festival that I'm not sure even exists anymore, but it's called the Strawberry Music Festival in Grass Valley. And it was a beautiful experience. And it's up near Yosemite, and the drive in and out of there is gorgeous. And I just got home to my apartment in LA at the time, and it just kind of started pouring out of me in terms of just visualizing. You sit in the van and you see the scenery roll by, and that's where it came from. And it was sort of this tribute to that experience, but also to California. Whenever I go visit my parents, I take the 101. I actively ignore Interstate 5 because I want those rolling hills. I want the Pacific coast. I want the ocean. And that's what went into this song. And I think you can kind of hear that. It also is just one of those songs. It's just such a groovy tempo, for lack of a better, way to describe it. It feels good. I've always felt this one. I don't want to say easy listening, but it was one of those ones that, like, if you just imagine a beautiful sunset drive down the coast, that's what I was feeling when I wrote and then recorded this one. And I hope that comes across, but it could be anywhere. It could be driving through the plains. It could be the Northeast. It could be anywhere, but it's these experiences where you're just going from one gig to the next, and everything in between sometimes gets ignored. But like, you know, you're driving through the South. It's just beautiful everywhere you go if you choose to look at it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what this one's about, and I'm happy that happy to present it here too. This particular performance was part of our album release concert, and the best musicians I know, Jeff Parker on guitar, Paul Bryan on bass, and then fellow Dawes bandmate of mine, Griffin, on drums, really drawing from all their individual experiences to this tune. It just really brought it to life in a special way, I think. And there's a disco ball in this particular video. So the mirror ball, it's a great way to close it out. So I'm, happy to, for everybody to watch and whatnot.
We are thrilled you're sharing it with us. I think a lot of our viewers tonight will be able to identify with those drives that you're talking about, whether it's down the coast or coming out of Yosemite. So as they listen to it, I hope this helps bring back some fond memories of those drives. Lee, we can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. It's really an honor to have you come back. A couple thank yous before we finish up tonight. I do want to thank Justin Carr, our technical director here, who's put together all of these videos for us tonight. I want to thank Rachel Lauren for giving up some time and working with Lee. A fantastic arrangement. I hope that you and Lauren find a way to, Rachel, pardon me. I hope you and Rachel find a way to get that tune released, because I really like it a lot. And then last but of course not least, Lee Pardini, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are always welcome here. You are always a monarch. Thank you, everybody. We hope to see you back here in May for whatever Jazz in the Green turns out to be. But to finish it up tonight, here is Rancho by Lee Pardini. Thanks for joining us, guys. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Mason.